When you're done with this video, you'll be able to complete in Khan Academy the square roots, cube roots, equations with square roots and cube roots, and roots with decimals and fractions. Okay, so first of all, we need to look at a little bit of notation. So this radical symbol here, and this radical symbol here with this little 3 there. And then here's this one, this radical symbol with a 5 there. This is what's called the index of the radical. Okay, 3, 5, it's the index. If there's no index written there, it's understood to be 2. So what that's saying, the square root, or what it's asking, is saying what number, when you multiply it by itself 2 times, is 81? And that's called the square root. It's 9. Okay. What number, when you multiply it by itself 3 times, gives you 27? Well, 3 times 3 is 9, times 1 more 3, that's 27. 1, 2, 3. So the cube root of 27 is 3. This one down here is the 5th root. Okay, what number times itself 5 times is 32? You can use a calculator typically with these so you can figure it out. And that is going to give you 2, right? 2 times itself 5 times gives you 32. Check it out on your calculator if you don't believe me. I'm really fast at finding my square roots and my cube roots because over the years I've memorized the perfect squares and the perfect cubes up to 10. So I'm gonna link this on our Google Classroom so that you have it, but it's a really good idea to memorize these because you'll use them over and over and over in your math career, and it's really good to just recognize them immediately and see 216 and know, oh, that's a perfect cube. It's 6 times 6 times 6, or oh, 512, that's 8 times 8 times 8, okay? Really good idea to memorize these, all the way up to actually 15 for the squares and up to 10 for the cubes. So there's a couple of kind of quirky things about square roots and cube roots. So first of all, let's look at this question I posed. Does the square root of negative 16 exist? Are there two numbers that when you multiply them together give you a negative 16? Well, let's think about it. If you took 4 times 4, that's a positive 16. If I took negative 4 times a negative 4, that's also a positive 16. So this does not exist for our purposes. It is a non-real number. You'll learn about imaginary numbers probably junior year, but for now, this does not exist. Okay. How about the cube root of negative 8? Are there 3 numbers that when you multiply them together, the same number, you multiply it by itself 3 times, and you get negative 8? Well, I know that 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. What about negative 2 times negative 2 times a negative 2? Well, a negative times a negative is a positive 4 times negative 2. Oh, that's negative 8. So yes, it does exist, and it is negative 2. If your index is odd, you can have a negative number under here. If your index is even, you cannot have a negative number under here. So the 4th root, the 6th root, the 8th root cannot be a negative number. So let's look at some equations with roots and exponents now that we know about exponents and roots. So we're being asked to find x. So what number, when you multiply by itself, squared, gives you 49? Ah, well, there's 2 answers to this. It's 7 or negative 7, right? Because negative 7 squared, that's also 49. And we know that 7 squared is 49. So there's 2 answers here. Okay. What about the cube root of negative 729? Is there a number that when you cube it gives you negative 729? So you go over to your memorized sheet, 729. Oh, that's 9. So it's got to be a negative 9. Would positive 9 work? Nope, because 9 times 9 times 9 is a positive 729. A negative 9 to the 3rd power is negative 729. What about fractions? Well, that works the same way. What number, when you multiply it by itself, gives me 16/49? Well, this is 4 squared, and that's 7 squared. So we have 4 sevenths, right? 4 times 4 is 16, 7 times 7 is 49, or negative 4 sevenths, right? You typically put the negative sign here, but you could put it on top or bottom, right? So I probably should have written it this way, but it really doesn't matter. We're on a new page. I made a boo-boo. Okay, so what number when you take the square root of it is 5? Well, that's going to be 25, right? The square root of 25 is 5. What number, when you cube it, gives you 4? Well, that number would be whatever 4 times 4 times 4 is. And that's going to be 64. Okay, the cube root of some number is negative 8. Well, that's going to be whatever negative 8 times negative 8 times negative 8 is. So that's going to be a positive 64 times a negative 8. X is a negative 512. Okay. And here, what number, when you take the square root of it, gives you negative 6? Well, it could be 6 or negative 6. X is 36. You probably could have had this too, or negative 6 or 6.